and welcome to episode 11 of Inside the Race, the MyWhoosh Racing Podcast with me, Emma Martin, and my co-hosts, Hayley Simmons and Matt Payne.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who has watched, liked, subscribed, sent us messages so far, interacted. Every single public interaction really does help us get the show established in these streaming platforms. So please do continue to interact with us in any way you can.
Definitely. Today we go inside the MyWhoosh Championship Stage 5, the second of two big mountain stages in Colombia. This would be my nemesis. That is for sure. I looked at these and went, well, certainly today, and went, ooh. Emma, I think most people watching, particularly if they've watched the Meet the Host episodes at the start of when we kicked off the podcast, will know that you prefer long, draggy climbs over short, sharp, steep, proper climbs. You commentating on today's race, you know, you're the long, drag diesel engine here, suited to this terrain. Did the racing match your expectations in the way it was raced?
No, it's really interesting. We did talk about that at the top of the show earlier on today, many hours ago when the women were in the pen and we were talking about the maps, because we took a look at those maps and really, you know, our conversation about the draft, the gradient and those types of things in the women's race, that the first climb was not really going to be decisive and we were going to see large groups come to the top of the climb, and we pretty much did in every single one of those women's categories. So in that respect, yes, the racing matched my expectations. Did I expect to see sprint finishes today? Not really. Not to the level that we did. I thought we would see more breakaways, but we didn't on that second climb in the women's race, and we didn't really in the men's either. You know, there were sprint finishes where I thought sprint finishes would never happen in the men's race today. So did it match my expectations? Yes, a little bit, but also no, not really. So I tell you what, why don't we go inside the race and see what really happened?
Well, as Emma has already told you, we were in Colombia today, and you could say that it was the Queen stage of the championships. The course was 42.9 kilometres long for the women with 1,307 metres of climbing. And it shook things up a little bit in some classifications, but maybe not to the extent that we might have expected.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, there was a number of races where I was expecting maybe people to hold on and they didn't. And this kind of was one of them, I must admit. Current holder of the sprint jersey, Nina Pierce, she took the stage honours today in Category 6 by almost 30 seconds. And then we saw Liz Misson having to give up a leader's jersey for now. But she's tied with Pierce in the QOM standings. And so I think it's still all up for grabs there. Maria Jose Zabala ended up taking away the gold jersey in Category 6 women at the end of the racing. So I definitely didn't expect that today in Category 6.
Yeah, in Category 5, the women's race is still wide open, with 4 riders battling for the top 3 spots on GC and 5 seconds separating them. It's really, really close. Isabel Alzat won the stage and wears the leader's jersey, but Victoria Sewell, Amy Loxley and Natalia Becerra were hot on her heels all day, and they're hot on her heels on that leaders table as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be a really exciting battle in Category 5. In women's Category 4, there were actually some bigger time gaps in the women's race. In quite emotional fashion, Martinuski won the stage and did so by 28 seconds over Nina Dowling. And Martinuski actually now has a 41-second advantage over Dowling in the GC. If you look at the sprint competition, there's actually a real battle going on there. And the next 2 stages are going to be instrumental because I think it's Pekakova and Fu. And they've only got 3 points between them. And there are still a considerable number of sprint points on offer.
Yeah, 25 in the women's competition still available. So you're right about that going to the wire, Hayley.
Yeah, it's still left. There's a lot left out there. Category 3 women's race. Camila Salgado has climbed away to the victory in Colombia today in that Category 3 race. She took the maximum points on the climbs and holds the Queen of the Mountains jersey. Jem Reel has finally had to let go of the jersey. I mean, she's it must have been dragged kicking and screaming off her shoulders. I think she's had it custom made to fit and everything now. But she's finally relinquished that jersey. She's handed it over to Ting Lu, who finished second today. She was really, really strong today. And there's only 38 seconds between them. So, again, that is nothing. And Lytton, Esler, along with Bauer, I mean, they're all really, really close. So, though that group of riders are clear, and it's still going to come down to one of those 5.
Yeah, in Category 2, it was the leader of the QOM's classification, Eleanor Wiseman, who took victory in Category 2 today. She's not on the top of the table on GC. That is Sylvia Gourea. She's still 2 seconds ahead of Wiseman on the GC at the moment. Emily Sopers, it's just so close. Emily Sopers is another 2 seconds further back. The top 7 riders on GC are within 30 seconds of each other. It is so close in the Category 2 women's race. The time trial is going to be rather instrumental, I think.
Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? It's a time trial, and it's also what riders, I think, because they've done so much racing now, we're going to win into the rest day. That rest day is going to be pretty critical, I think, what people do, because if you get your rest day right, that time trial is going to be like, you're going to come out going, come on, it's mine, I'm going to go for this. If you have a bad rest day, you're going to go, oh, flipping, whatever.
Nora.
That'll do, flipping Nora. Oh, my legs hurt. You're going to get on the bike, you're going to go, ooh, okay, I didn't do that wisely. And I think, for me, a good rest day makes a difference. I mean, what about you, Hayley? What is a good rest day? What counts as a good rest day for you? And I know it's different for everybody.
So last year I raced Sunday Race Club on the rest day, which I'm not doing tomorrow. I'm not on the start sheet, so there's no temptation. And yeah, so, but I mean, I raced Sunday Race Club and I came 7th, I think probably because of just the lack of people and the fact that a lot of people were tired. But I then obviously still had a very good TT day on the Monday. There's always that question of, could I have had a better TT day on the Monday had I not raced Sunday Race Club? I don't know. It's hard to answer that. I mean, my recovery's already started today, and I think that's one crucial thing as well. I think some athletes might have been like, oh, you know what, I've got a rest day tomorrow, so I don't really need as big a cool down. And maybe they will have lost a bit of focus this afternoon compared to what they've been doing the previous days. For me, my recovery already started. You know, I did the same kind of cool down routine as I have the last few days. I then went for cryotherapy because I had that opportunity. So I got that in today. And then tomorrow I will move my legs, because doing nothing will then force my legs into shock on a Monday. But different riders with different physiologies will have different approaches. And I think it's about having the experience of knowing what works for you and sticking to that, rather than just trying to second guess yourself. I think if you second guess yourself, that's where the risk is.
Emma, I mean, for me, I would ride. I am shocking. You don't want to even be in the same studio as me if I have a day off the bike, and I'm on about day 4 now, so I don't know how Emma actually gets into the commentary box at the same time without me having a grump. But for me, I have to ride every day. What about you, Emma? What would be, for me, a good rest day would be lots of food and riding the bike. What about you, Emma? What's a good rest day?
I go really well off not riding the bike. I always have done. Even when I was running in my 20s, a rest day has to be a rest day. And I'll tell you something, when I come back the following day, I really noticed the fact I never had the issue that my legs would seize up or feel bad after a day off. And actually, I always went better for it. And if I used to have, I know a lot of people will taper into competitions, and some people don't like tapering into competitions because it's personal, really, isn't it, in terms of how you go and how that run and rides. But I would always have a really good, strong, steep taper last minute into a really good level competition. And in that final week before I would not do a huge amount at all, and I would be flying, I would be pinging off of that, I'm talking decades ago, but it is personal, and what works for me doesn't work for somebody else.
No, very much the case.
I think one rider who definitely knows what works for her and will not be influenced by what anyone else may or may not be doing is Kate McCarthy. And in the women's category 1 race today, she extended her lead in the GC by another 44 seconds over Gabby Guerra, and took yet another stage win in this championships. Francesca Tomasi, she finished 3rd, and that basically repeated yesterday's podium. Mika Soderstrom still leads the sprint classification, but there's a change in the team standings. So the Sweat Sensations had been leading the way, but it's now the FCC Endorphins who top the table. They've got 13 seconds over the Sweat Sensations, and Ablock International are 124 back, which ironically is the gap that McCarthy holds in the individual GC. So it's kind of a nice or not so nice mirroring depending on your position, I think. But I actually caught up with Kate McCarthy after her race today. She was generous enough to share some time with me at what was, I think, just gone midnight her time. So I had a chat with her to ask her some questions about the race. So, Kate McCarthy, thank you so much for joining us on Inside the Race and having a bit of a chat with us. It's really an honour to have you come and speak to us after your race today. So, firstly, what time is it there for you at the moment?
Well, thanks for having me. It is 20 past midnight right now.
Good grief. And I guess Dylan is currently slaving away on the turbo on his stage. So
he is. He is. I'm currently sitting on the floor in the hallway to avoid all the noise of the fans.
Yeah, it's some late nights for you over there in New Zealand. But is it nice for you? Well, I guess we're actually a little bit later than SRC. So how is it for you kind of coping with that slight later shift and then getting some sleep after and things like that?
Yeah, it's been a bit tricky because I've also been helping Dylan with his racing. So by the time he finishes and by the time I get to bed, it's about 3 a.m. And then usually sleeping through to about 9:30 because I'm not one for a long sleep in. And then usually trying to get a 2-hour sort of nap in the evening before waking up to get ready to race. So it's been a long few days. So I'm excited for a rest day tomorrow. I'm not doing SRC, so looking forward to that.
I was going to say I'm also not doing SRC, so I hadn't seen the start list. But Matt and Emma did say to me that you weren't on the start list, and yeah. I think it's probably a wise decision, to be honest. And then you can focus on the TT and then the final stage on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
So today's race, obviously, it was a hard mountain route today. You held your nerve on that first climb. Was that a deliberate strategy?
Yeah, I think so. I think I just wanted to see what sort of pace the girls set up the first climb, and it was sort of more about saving legs and just trying to get those points over the top of the hill. And Anna did really well. She took off and had a crack, which was cool to see. And then it was just about sort of getting to that second climb, and I sort of knew that second climb quite well. I've ridden it a few times in training, so I just decided to hold my own rhythm, and it paid off. So it was really good.
I guess, well, maybe you did, but did you expect Gabby Guerra to go with you when you attacked?
Yeah, initially, yeah. She has been following me, so I wasn't surprised by that, but I know myself and what I can hold, so I was happy to just sort of do my own thing and forget that anyone was with me and ride my own race. So that's what I sort of tried to do. So yeah.
And obviously, that did work. The gap is now 1 minute 24, I think, on GC. So is that kind of the kind of gap that you were hoping for and looking for, or what were your kind of expectations by the end of today?
No, I'm happy. I'm happy with the gap going into the TT on Monday. I'm looking forward to that, to see how it plays out and test the legs on that course. It's an interesting course. So, I'm happy to have the gap, but I'd like to extend it a bit more. I'm competitive, so
as you would expect, being world champion, if you weren't competitive, I'd be asking questions, I guess. But I agree with you. The Montreal course is an interesting choice for a TT course. But I mean, I'm guessing, obviously, don't reveal any trade secrets and things like that or pacing strategies. But my assumption is that you know that course well, obviously from SRC, but also probably from having reconning it. So do you kind of have a time in the back of your mind that you think you're going to be able to do?
No, I haven't thought about too much about the time, to be fair. I'm more sort of thought about how I want to race it and where I want to put the power down and things like that. The time will sort of be what it'll be depending on how the legs turn up. But yeah, just going to race it as hard and as fast as I can and hopefully get another bit of a gap and go from there and hopefully be able to really enjoy Tuesday's race, because that's always fun, having a bit of a flat stage at the finish and being able to sort of enjoy it with the teammates and hopefully help set them up for some other moves and things like that. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, Emma actually has a little envelope in the shed studio of what she thinks the winning times are going to be in the men's and the women's category 1 on Monday. So I'm really curious to see kind of how close she is. But I agree with you. It's like for we have a lot of TTs in the UK, and a lot of people are always focused on their time, whereas for me it's more, what power do I think I can hold on any given day, and then the time that comes out is the time that comes out depending on the course and the conditions and things like that. But I think having the kind of power target is the more sensible way to to approach a TT, I guess.
Yeah, and I think with the way they've set up the wind for the course this time, it's a bit different to how it was when we raced it. So I think it's going to make a few differences to how we race it as well on the day.
Yeah. Do you think the competition is stronger in category 1 this year, kind of in comparison to maybe the MyWhoosh Championships last year? And is that kind of playing out as you expected it to?
I think there's been a huge level up in performance from the girls over the last sort of 6 months. But I think it's been cool. At the end of the day, it only helps me push harder. So if these girls are leveling up, then I've got to as well. So it just keeps me on my game, and I think that's part of it, and it makes me excited for the world champs, because then we'll see what everyone can do and how they perform, and and hopefully I can continue to push myself with these girls as well.
It's always, for me, it's really nice to see everybody kind of continuing to push each other. And actually, when we spoke to Elise Gallegos, for example, the other day, she was talking about how she she'd watch some footage of like Gabby racing, or obviously she sees you racing, and it kind of makes her think about areas that she needs to improve herself and different areas where she can make a bit of a difference. And I think it's great to see that, and also to see some new riders coming in and slotting in quite near the top, and just how that makes everybody kind of push themselves that little bit harder.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So, you said obviously you're excited by the racing. Is it always exciting for you, kind of racing in these women's fields? Like, do you have a chance to kind of enjoy it and savor it, or does it feel a bit like a job at times?
No, I think I genuinely really enjoy it. I love racing. I look forward to the Sunday racing. And the MyWhoosh Championship's obviously been a big target as well. But I love it. Some days are harder than others, and some days the leagues turn up and some days they don't, and some days you think, why am I doing this to myself? But most of the time I really look forward to it. It's been great. I've met some really awesome people through this racing as well. Like my teammates, for example, are brilliant girls. They're all awesome. They all put their all in every race. And even though this week we unfortunately lost Maria because she fell ill just before we started, like literally the day of, the girls have still all come together and they're pushing themselves, and it's been brilliant to see. So I'm very lucky that I get to do this at the moment.
Yeah, no, I agree with you again, and it's for me, the community that we have within our team as well. You feel like some of these girls are some of your best friends, and you just chat all the time. And even though maybe you haven't had the chance to meet them in person sometimes. And it's a really incredible thing that MyWhoosh kind of creates this sense of camaraderie just across the world, which I love.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thinking about this championships as a whole, kind of, I guess before it started, when you looked at the route book, was there a specific stage that you were most looking forward to before the week began?
Probably today, what we've just done. Yeah, I love a long, sort of hard, just ride my own race, sort of tempo effort. And I feel in control there. So I was really looking forward to today to see what I could do, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So yeah, today was definitely a big target for me, and then the rest will be what it'll be.
Yeah, and you do have kind of the comfort of having quite a nice buffer now, and hopefully we'll be able to extend that on Monday. And then, as you said, just enjoy Tuesday and maybe try a few different things for some of the other girls. So that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Now, Matt always asks a cheeky question. Matt likes to throw in his cheeky question. So because him and Emma are obviously still commentating on the men's race, and I am obviously recording with you, Matt has thrown his cheeky question to me, but you can tell him to go away and it's none of his business, but I will ask you what he's written. So he says, are you, as multiple world champion, MyWhoosh Championship winner, MyWhoosh Championship leader, and winner of every stage so far this year, do you feel secure enough in that position to tell us what your nearest competitors need to do to try and beat you?
I actually don't know. I mean, that's a tough one. It's a really lucky.
Yeah, Matt likes to throw in his like.
Yeah, like I don't know. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, so it's really difficult to say this is what someone needs to do to beat me, because I don't know. I mean, everyone races as hard as they can, and I obviously race as hard as I can as well. So I guess. Yeah. I honestly don't know how to answer that.
No, I completely agree. I read Matt's questions sometimes, and I'm like, Matt, I'm not sure what we're going to get. But I think I know. I kind of know what you're saying. It's like you work as hard as you can work to kind of stay on top, and then hope that gap kind of stays as it is, and
Oh, thank you so much to Kate McCarthy. I mean, world champion, cycling esports royalty here with us. Brilliant chat with her, and thank you for taking that time out. I have got a bone to pick with you, Hayley, though. Talk about throwing me under the bus. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to hold my... There we are. That's my hand being held up. I messed up. Clearly, it didn't work. I mean, it clearly didn't work me right that cheeky question when I did. But, Pluminette, you could have just, like... I don't know what, anything. I mean, I've now got to make the world's biggest grovelling apology to Elise Gallegos again. What's going on?
I'm sorry. I will say that even though it was like Sunday morning past midnight for Kate when she spoke to me, I hadn't had that long to kind of roll off the bike and through the shower and shove some food down my face. And I do get what I call turbo brain. So I think I read your cheeky question and I opened my mouth and didn't engage my brain. But I will use turbo brain as my excuse for that. I'm sorry.
I don't apologise really, because it is my own stupid fault. I always say to people when we do commentary, people say to me, "Oh, are you worried about saying the wrong word?" And I always go, "No." Because if you think about or worry about saying the wrong word, it's all gone wrong already. It's too late. It's just got to be automatic. I thought about what I put in the question, and that's clearly dangerous. I need to take touch typing skills so that I don't get involved with what my brain and my hands are doing, a bit like my brain and my mouth, and then it'll all be okay. And I can't mess up my own questions then on the way through. Either that or you two are just going to have to be better at checking how rubbish I am at either typing or actually writing questions that are wrong in there.
But to be fair, I'm going to have to do a grovelling apology apparently on Tuesday on our Tuesday post.
Would you like to share before we get there?
No. I'll let myself be told off by one of our guests on Tuesday and apologise. So I'll have to do. I'll have to do my own. I didn't even say he or she. Then I'm not going to give the game away. But I'm going to have a grovelling apology. So it's not just you. Don't worry.
So whilst I'm busy welcoming Hayley to my world of grovelling apologies, let's go to the world of the men's race on the MyWhoosh Championships here. I tell you what, let's kick off with category 6 in the men's race. After 1,700 metres of climbing, it was a sprint finish in category 6, but I was absolutely shocked to see. I mean, you kind of thought Emil Ivanov was going to take it by climbing clear, but he didn't. He ended up doing it in the sprint from Montoya and Rademacher on the line. Defending champion Rademacher, I mean, he's now into, second place overall? He's got a 1 second deficit on Santeri Quickstrom, who really... He's kind of almost snuck his way in and round and into first place. He's always been there or thereabouts. He's not yet taken a stage win, but really impressive doing that. The TT, I think, really is going to make a difference here. Who can TT? Ola Warren has a 19-point lead over Jonathan Fagan in the sprint competition, and that's looking more and more secure. But there's still 8 sprint segments to come in those last 2 stages. That could run to the very last one, dependent on what happens, I think, on our next competition day.
There's 40 points left in that men's sprint competition. That's still a lot.
Yeah,
they've got a
lot of points, isn't it?
The men do have quite a lot of sprints left to come, more so than the women. But in the men's category 5 race today, the top 10 riders were all within 30 seconds. So it was yet another kind of bigger group and closer battle, I think. In the end, it was Francisco Barria who took his first win of the championships. Meanwhile, Lucas Petter gained another handful of seconds over Junior Penn. So he's kind of slowly but surely eking out a bit of an advantage in the overall. Nicholas Spratt, who was 7th on the stage, he actually looks to have tied up the KOM competition today.
Yeah, really, really dominant. There was another specialist climber in category 4 today who took away the men's win, and that was Niall Batty. He also gained maximum points in the climbing competition on the stage, meaning he will now take over the polka dot jersey from Aidan Sinclair. And I think Sinclair made a decision today as to what he was defending, because he went into today's stage with the polka dots, the young riders jersey, the overall and the sprint competition. You know, he'd literally...
It's a bit greedy.
He put a foot in every single camp.
Oh, good on him. Go for it. Go on, mate.
In the first few days. But, fabulous riding. But today he made his decision very, very clearly as to what was his goal and which of those jerseys he was defending and which of them he was happy to let go. He does still hold the sprinter's jersey, and he stays in that golden leaders jersey overnight into that time trial.
In the men's category 3 race, it was Carlos Manarelli who was the rider of the day. He took the stage win and he moved up 18 places in the general classification in the process. So he's now actually in 3rd place overall. He's leading the KOM competition and he's in third place in the sprint classification. So he's clearly been looking a little bit at Aidan Sinclair, and he's now, putting his foot in all the different camps as well.
Yeah, I think it's quite incredible. He lost 32 places on stage 2, and he's made 30 places back in the last 2 stages. So big ups and downs, big swings. He's only going to be hoping to keep swinging upwards now, I guess, in there. In category 2, it was SS who took 44 points in the KOM competition, and really now has that sewn up. That's he's secured that jersey in that competition. Phenomenal, 129 points. Read it and wait, 129 points. It's behind him, Nathan Guerra winning the stage ahead of Peter Malostic. Not going to touch him in the climbs, but Guerra's stage win, I think, very well deserved, ahead of Peter Malostic and Mr. X100. Those 3 riders also hold the top positions on GC, but Mr. X100's held on to that leader's jersey. It's 10 seconds gap over Nathan Guerra going into our rest day. And for me, that's still wide open between those 2 and actually a long way down the categories. I thought at this stage, after this stage, probably every category we talk about today in both the men's and women's would be sewn up. I thought GCs would be done. I didn't think we'd be going into the time trial with GC wide open. Did you?
I didn't necessarily think they'd all be sewn up, but I thought there would be bigger gaps. 100%, I thought it would be clearer. Whereas we're seeing a lot of categories where it's not clear, and I couldn't look at it and tell you what movement there's going to be on the TT day, because the time gaps are nowhere near as big as I expected, or I expected before I rode the stage. Having ridden the stage, I can sort of understand why we're not seeing those big time gaps. But if you'd asked me yesterday evening, I would have said something totally different.
Yeah, really funny, isn't it? It is really close, and and what's it? I mean, Manarelli moving up all those places shows that it has made a shift in some of those competitions. In that Category 3 competition, but even with riders making big gains up through the GC, it doesn't do anything other than still make the GC close. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like where we see a phenomenal performance. Actually, it's really shifting and changing GC and making a massive difference to the top of it. It's just setting people up even closer together because more people are slotting in.
And it's not taken, I don't think it's taken anything away from it's not that it's boring and it's been the same people at all. I think quite the reverse. I actually think the way it's been, I'm going to hold my hand up. And when I saw the parkour, I thought, it's pretty playing this safe here. It's pretty, do you know what? It's absolutely been brilliant. I think the design of the course actually has now given us races that it's changed. There's been drama. It's been close, and it's not been predictable because we could have been coming into rest day with everything sorted, and we'd be just talking about sprints all the time. And now we're not. We're going into what's going forward in the categories with question marks and thinking, well, actually, you could overturn. 10 seconds in a time trial. That's nothing. And we're talking 1 and 2 seconds in some race categories between first and second or positions further down through the race field.
Yeah, I think, as you just said, 10 seconds in a time trial is nothing. Not on day 6. Even though we've had a rest day, I think you're going to see some big gaps. And I think in some of the categories, you could see some big swings. But I agree with you. I think the racing's been super exciting. And it's been a really well-designed kind of progression of courses to kind of make that so.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this time last year, when we got to the end of stage 5, the climbing competition was over. There were no more climbing segments. That part of the competition was done and dusted. This year we're carrying into that time trial. There were no segments on the time trial last year. This year we're carrying in fastest through the segment sections for sprints and for climbs. So there are points available in that competition out there on the time trial. Then we go back to first across the line for the final day. In the women's competition, there's still 26 points available in the climbing competition and 25 points available in the sprint competition. Those competitions, yes, there are some clearly more dominant riders in those competitions, but they're not all sewn up yet. And I think those will come to the wire. Likewise, in the men's, 34 points available still in the sprint competition going forward and 40 points still available as well. So, again, those numbers are going to go and they're going to get added to what the riders have already got. But you've got to bank on the fact you've still got the legs on day 7 when you're out picking up the sprint points on day 1.
Yep, and anything can happen. And our preconceptions, my preconceptions for sure, are definitely not there. I mean, my preconceptions about what happened in all the categories we've talked about, we've only got one to talk about left now, men's category 1. And if you want preconceptions blown away, today was it.
Well, let's just have a little look, shall we, at what happened in that men's category 1 race. Jason Osbourne took his 5th win of the championships, 5 out of 5, but it was not in the way we perhaps expected. He won the sprint for the line ahead of Ollie Jones and Stefan van Elst, but there were 6 riders together in that leading group coming into the finish today. Jason secured himself the Mountains jersey, having a 63-point lead now over Ruben Dont. I wouldn't have expected Ruben Dont to be the rider challenging Jason in the climbing competition going in if we were talking about stage 1, talking about expectations. Jasper Paradiens has extended his lead in the sprint classification. That has still been a real battle out there, and that's been fabulous to watch as well. And in the team classification today, the final bosses have extended their lead by a further 2 minutes over the Alpha Jaw Space Cowboys. Well, I think we should hear from one of the riders who has broken our expectations today, now that we've been talking about them. Jason Osbourne, the world champion, took the win in the sprint at the end of the mountain stage today. He didn't ride away on the mountain. Let's find out all about it. Well, hello to Jason Osbourne and welcome to the podcast.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Yeah, a pleasure.
Jason, it's the pleasure is all ours from watching you guys racing in the commentary box, I tell you. And Hayley, you too, fabulous racing out there so far. And I can't believe we've got 5 stages complete and just 2 to go. Well, I don't think anybody watching today, Jason, expected today to play out as it did. I know we didn't in the commentary box. AKA Jason Osbourne, we often see you on the Sunday Race Cup around an hour to go, particularly on a long climbing stage. You like to sort of move away from the group and do your own thing. You didn't go clear today, and then you came in having to sprint for the win, and the sprint was just boom, over the line, and you took the stage. But was that your plan going into stage 5? That it would play out as it did, or did that evolve today as it happened?
To be honest, I've been watching the women's race before my race, and I saw Mary Kate, and I was like, okay, there's like some good parts to like make a difference, some steep parts, and I was like, okay, I knew the first climb was really steep, and we were like all in for that one. Inside our team, we were like, okay, let's make the pace real hard, but that unfortunately didn't really happen. So I was a bit like, a bit annoyed, because I also didn't want it to go out that long to go. So especially with the TT coming up, like if it's an SRC, like it's a different game. I just go, but with the stage race, it's like you also have to conserve yourself a little bit. So in the end, like there were plenty of opportunities on the course, but it just like seemed to me like I gave it a good shot like a couple of times, and I also had a gap like every now and then, but it just seemed like there was just too much draft. And yeah, the group behind, there were also always people in that were able to recover and then trying to bridge across, and like it just kept coming back together. And then like on the first climb, everyone was watching me kind of. And that's also a bit annoying because like, yeah, I cannot do it really alone when it's that long of a course and in a stage race. So, yeah, I felt a bit like I was hoping like for the others to play their cards as well, because like in the end, it's not only me, like they can also break the bunch if they really try. So yeah, I was hoping for that. That didn't happen. So only thing I could do is like gave it a good few shots here and there, and it didn't work out. And then luckily I found my new sprinting abilities. I don't know where they're coming from all of a sudden, but then I was like, all right, okay, it's gonna be a sprint. And just focus then was just not lose time in GC. And yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, you did find those sprint legs the other day as well. But I kind of agree with you that the dynamics on the climb were a little bit different to maybe how I was expecting. And there was actually some more draft compared to what I thought. But at what point today did you kind of say to yourself, like, okay, you know what? I think this is going to come down to a sprint finish. I'm going to stop trying to break away because I think it's going to cost too much energy. Kind of how far from the top of that final climb did you kind of make that decision?
I did I kind of started at like, first of all, we sent Hayden up the front, which was great. I think like he managed a good result himself as well that way, because he got a nice gap and then didn't lose that many spots, I think, in the end. So nothing too bad about that. And then like when I called Hayden, he was even able to give me like a little bit of a push, like when I had that 11-second gap. Yeah, but that was like 12k out. That's pretty much where I started, I think 12, 13-ish. And then came the flat part, and then I saw them already going at 7, 8, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be really long, and like we have the TT coming up, and yeah, just like ease up and then let them come back and then try again, maybe. Like it's just like playing also a little bit with the bunch. Like you have to also think like when you're in the front and you have a gap and then you let them come back, it costs them energy too to come back. And then when you recovered a little bit for when they're just about to come back, then you can go again. But in the end, it came down to a sprint.
Yeah, the way that the team work there, and that tactic you talk about making sure you make them work for the catch and that the team works together, I think is a really it's an underrated tactic. It's a tactic that works very well, but you've got to know when and how to play it so that it doesn't cost your teammate. When you're racing, how does that team structure work? Who calls the shots? Do you call the shots? Do you talk about it? Who can change the plan to adapt to the changing in the racing? Is that one of you or all of you on the team then?
Well, like we, apart from Stefan, we're all on Discord. So we are on headphones with each other, which is kind of nice because as Pavel said in the other podcast, like time just passes by so much quicker. Like I feel when you have like communication, you're talking with each other, they're suffering too, and you're kind of supporting each other. It's really nice. It makes it more enjoyable, actually. And it's pretty much the orders. Like we just communicated beforehand in WhatsApp. We just like make a plan, and it's not always working out how we want, or maybe how I suppose it to be the best. But I mean that's also how it is. Like. It's not it's a stage race. Everyone is kind of like looking at their own resources. Like nobody wants to, put everything on the line, even if there are team orders. But like, I feel like with Hayden, we have a really good, he's a worker. Like he commits himself like 100% to the team, which is great. And I feel like we also give him like opportunities for himself, like in the sprint stage, for example, when he got that gap, like I pretty much was just not wanting to lose time, and like for him it was great. Like I was like, if you can get a gap like with 4 or 5k to go and it grows to like 20-30 seconds, you can pull it off. Like so these kind of things, like we're not leaving anyone out. Everyone gets a chance, and I think it's a great spirit.
Yeah, we spoke to Hayden yesterday, and he was clearly just really enjoying the team atmosphere, and he said himself, and you can see it week in, week out, that he is a worker and he's just happy to really commit himself, and that's just great to watch.
Yeah, like I'm also like really pleased with like talking to each other in Discord just enables to also help him with the racing and teach him like what because like with Hayden he's like super strong. He has like he has the engine, he has every attribute you need to be a good cyclist, but like in terms of the tactical things, he can be a little bit better, and I feel like he really progressed in this week of racing, especially like. And yeah, I'm just really happy to help him. Also with the coaching, he said he has the best legs for months, so this is great to hear. Yeah.
Well, so hopefully, he had a really good result in the time trial last year, and hopefully his legs are great for that. But hopefully yours are on stellar form as well. And I think the time trial is now going to be instrumental in the GC positions. Did you think that was going to be the case before the championships started?
Well, like I've been thinking about it actually, and it's kind of a difficult. It's a complete different dynamic to last year, like where you had Vink and me, and like Vink and me would go up the road, we would work together, we have a gap, and that's it. The GC is like being made like that in pretty much every stage. Whereas now it's like. I feel like everyone's just looking at me and just waiting and waiting and waiting. And it's like, if I do it too much on my own, like I also risk myself to break myself. So I don't want to do that. So yeah, maybe that's why we see things coming much closer this year as well, like in terms of the GC. But yeah, like I'm not afraid. Like I know I'm a good TT rider. I can do good TTs. I did a second place last year behind Vink, who was in incredible shape. But I'm not afraid. I think there's still a good buffer in the GC, and I just do whatever is possible on the day.
And does your day differ for the TT? Because it is very different, isn't it? It's not a big long stage where you can hide. You've got it's a much shorter stage. It's going to be a different time scale, I guess, for how you prepare, and what your training, what your fueling is, and then sort of coming out the other side. Does it change your recovery? Is there anything changes? Do you just treat it like just any other day? It's just a different parkour.
Yeah, well, the good thing is, first of all, most of us have done the course on SRC, so we all know the course kind of, and it's I feel that's really important to know the course. But yeah, then in terms of nutrition, it doesn't differ too much to the previous few days. Like you have your same routine, you have your same breakfast, same everything. So try and keep it simple.
Keeping it simple. There's a plan there as well in terms of the environment around you, isn't there? Jason, how do you think the rest of the championships will play out in Cat 1? I mean, I know ideally you're thinking, top of GC for you, but there's been some really, really interesting racing. And for me, I've really enjoyed watching Tom Thrall come back into the mix. I've enjoyed Neil Fryatt coming back into the mix because we've not seen them on Sunday Race Club. We've not really seen them since the World Champs. So it's really interesting watching those riders come back in. How do you think the rest of the championships is going to play out in that Cat 1 pack?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like today we had a 7-man group up the road with like people that that nobody maybe would have expected to be there, but it was a surprise, and I mean it shakes things up a little bit. But like in terms of GC, I think it's going to be a tight battle for third for sure, I think, because there's a few names that are fighting for third, definitely. And then I think knock on wood, but like there is a good buffer, so hopefully things go right, and it will turn out good, but it will be definitely a tight fight for third. And then also we saw Milostic today. He tried really hard on the climb. It was really interesting because I think like he saw it as his last opportunity really to gain some time, because I think, yeah, him being like 59 kilos is or like pretty light.
He's only 19, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really young. Like he
Yeah.
has plenty of years to come. But yeah, I think he really tried today to gain some time. And yeah, with the TT coming up, maybe he knows that it's gonna be a bit harder for him being so light, because it's like, yeah, you have climbs in there, but you have also like flat parts. So yeah, that was interesting to see him fight, because for him is also obviously with the youth classification, like against Pavel. So it's tight between them two. Yeah, and then in terms of teams, GC, I think we made up some time today. Actually, I think.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it. I think we are like on 3 minutes or something. I saw it in the group. But
yeah, you gained. I think you gained an extra 2 minutes today, which was a nice buffer.
Yeah, so that is good to know. I think we have like really strong TT riders in our team, so we don't have to be afraid. And then who knows? Maybe Hayden can go for a good result himself. Like I really wish for him, because it's if something is in his strength, it's a TT, right? So yeah,
be really good to watch. I am going to ask just another cheeky question, and it's just because we asked this of Kate McCarthy. I know
what?
You can
Hang
ask
on.
the Matt cheeky question in a minute, but I'm nipping in with one first, because we asked this of Kate McCarthy, because really luckily we've got you both on the same show, 2 world champions on one show. Now, what do the rest of the field, Jason, in your opinion, need to do to beat the current world champion, or is it just not possible?
It's my cheeky question.
Well, I think the way it's like, first of all, the way it's progressing right now is obviously incredible. Like it's getting harder and harder and harder. Like in SSC, the level is insane. I'm not only talking about category 1, it's like in all the categories.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, the competition. So I think there is a positive development anyways going on at the moment. But yeah, I think just gaining experience, to be honest, like tactical experience, and then also trying things out, and like even maybe with knowing that it might fail and you might end up like getting dropped or whatever. But like if you never try, you never know. So being a bit encourage yourself to try things.
Interesting.
I think that's really good advice.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that's, seeing as how Emma has borrowed one of my cheeky questions that we were using earlier on, I have got another. I always have a reserve cheeky question. I'm going to use my reserve cheeky question. I actually like this better now. You said that. You say the competition needs to get that experience. So what I'm going to do is ask you, with your experience as multi-world champion, as a rider who is at the moment in line for the win for MyWhoosh Championship, if you were to get a bonus for winning the MyWhoosh Championship, and that bonus was to design one stage of the MyWhoosh Championship next year, so you get to choose the route, what day it is, what type of racing it is, what would you do? You've so much experience with cycling esports. What would you choose for that stage? How would you design that stage?
Is it the question of like, how would I design it to be in favor of me, or is it like, how do you mean it? Like, or just to
up to
like,
you,
make it hard for the others to make it a course that is like impossible to beat me. Well, if it's
that's up to you. You've got the opportunity to choose. You could be Mr. Kind, and you could make a race course for everybody that was exciting, or would it be a course that you could win on because that's what you do? You win, or you've been given this. They said, you tell the designers, our route designer's not going to get involved. It's all down to you. Just down to you. You can say to them you want to put it all downhill, all uphill. It could be a time trial. It could be a bunch race. It could be a team time trial. What would you put in? What do you think you would choose if suddenly it was down to you? If they said, we've only got 6 stages ready, we need number 7, Jason, what's it going to be?
So many factors. I don't know. Like if
it's not meant to be an easy question.
Well, if it's close in GC and it's stage 7, I'd say like put in a good old Jebel Hafitna. But if it would be a stage that if it's close in GC and to make it hard for me, I would say like something like 7 gems, maybe. That's always a course that is like really hard to break away. More like flattish, and then downhill courses, obviously, because like Hayden, he can just drill it in the downhill, and nobody will catch him. So
we're not going to convince you to try and get a team time trial in there.
I mean, that would be exciting. That would be definitely exciting. I think. I think maybe also in terms of like making it more fair for like the lighter riders, possibly. Because like if you have a draft, like I don't know, like when there's a super light guy that is really losing time in the TT, then like a TTT maybe for him would be ideal, right? So that could make things more fair. But yeah,
so many choices.
Yeah,
well, so many choices. Very much so, definitely.
I think I'm going to...
Well, Matt's cheeky question is done, Jason. You don't have to worry about any others, but just leaves us to say thank you so much for joining us today. Rest, recover. I'm going to ask you, are you racing Sunday Race Club tomorrow?
I've signed up for it. I wasn't 100% sure, but I think after it's been going like quite well now with the 5 out of 5, I think I'm going to skip it.
Right. Well, in which case, have a great rest day. Enjoy your rest day. Enjoy the break. We so look forward to seeing you on that start line on the time trial, along with the rest of the team and the rest of the MyWhoosh Championship. So good luck. We should be keeping an eye on you.
Thanks for the nice commentary as always. It's always a pleasure, like watching SRC and hearing you commentate is making the whole thing a lot better for everyone, I think. So. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
you. We just love getting to watch the racing every race.
Yeah.
It's an absolute honour. An absolute honour.
You can sense it that you enjoy it.
Yeah, cool. It's an absolute pleasure. But and the action, on the edge of our seats sometimes. You know what? Can I just own up right now? I even ended up crying because one of the Martinuska, as she came over the line in Category 4 today, could not believe she won the race. She was in absolute wreck. She was in tears on the bike in literally the last 500 metres because she couldn't believe she'd broken away from the competitor she'd been battling yesterday. She was in floods of tears. I was in floods of tears. I had to throw the commentary to Matt in the commentary box next to me because I couldn't cope anymore. I was absolutely bought into that story. I really, really was. It was superb. And Jason, you guys make the action. You really, really do. It's an absolute pleasure and an honour to be alongside you in the commentary box putting words to it. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you out there in start pen.
Thank you.
Cheers, buddy. See you soon. Massive thank you to Jason there. Just brilliant. I just loved that conversation we just had with him. I have to say, really, really interesting insight into Jason's mind and what makes him tick and how that whole team tick as well, the Final Bosses team there. Really insightful and really interesting the way that he is approaching things, particularly sort of when we look forward as well into tomorrow, into the time trial stage. And it would probably be remiss of us, whilst Emma and I have ridden time trials, we've got a multi-time national champion time trial and record holder in the show, to not ask Hayley, to say to Hayley, you're doing the course preview. So Hayley, can you take us through what we've got in front of our riders from a championship TT rider's point of view?
Yeah, and it was great to hear from Jason, and I think I'm actually going to stick the word "no fear" somewhere in front of me on Monday, and that will maybe give me a bit of an extra boost going into that time trial stage. But stage 6, every second will well and truly count after the rest day. We are in Canada. We are in Montreal. Maybe not what you would expect as a traditional time trial course. But there we go. I'm learning to love it. We're in Canada, and it's
that was said through gritty teeth, wasn't it?
Ask me again on Monday. Ask me again on Monday night. You'll either get me sat here like, or I'll be fine. But we'll we'll cross that bridge.
We'll all see. Don't worry.
Yeah, you will. My facial expression is going to totally give me away.
If you're listening, or if you're using a listening medium, we might give you a heads up if you need to switch to YouTube.
If you have two hosts on Monday, you'll know that I am in a really foul mood. So that's your warning. Anyway, sorry, my course preview. We're in Montreal. It is for the women a 26.7 kilometer course. It is 494 meters of elevation, and it's 2 laps. 2 laps of the same course. We've raced it on Sunday Race Club, but it's going to be a whole different kettle of fish for both the women and the men when we approach it as a time trial, because there's no draft. You know, we're on TT bikes that the bikes will just look good in game, but there's no draft between the riders. However, it's a mass start. And I think what makes it interesting in both the women's and the men's, because the men have exactly the same, except they've got 3 laps. So 40.1 kilometers with 741 meters of elevation. But you'll notice that there are sprint and climbing segments on these courses. And in a change from what we've been seeing on Sunday Race Club and a change from the rest of the week, these are fastest through the segment. And what that means is that you might see some riders go off for that first climbing segment like they shouldn't, to be honest, like they're pacing it really, really badly. But that's because maybe their aspirations are actually climbing points. Now, what is then interesting is for some of the maybe more GC riders to not get distracted and to stick to their own race plan. And that's the difficulty with a mass start TT.
I think it's really, because there's no draft, everyone's going to be able to see each other. And you, like you say, Hayley, you've got that temptation. And I think that there are going to be riders that are going to go like the proverbial bat out of hell. They're literally going to take off, like a drag car down the drag strip, because they are going to go out to take the climbs. And we've got to remember there is that prize, and this is something that Emma reminded me of on commentary today on the racing, is that there is the prize each day for the person who gets the most points in the climbs competition. So if, if there is I'm going to use a Teesdale Mountain Time Trial as a great example. If you've got that segment, you can ride the rest easy. So for me, this would be a no-brainer if I wasn't in the GC, or my team wasn't in the GC, and my team wasn't in the GC. And that's the thing. That's
the other complication.
You've got to be secure in those two. I would be going like an absolute loon up both climbs and trying to recover as much as I could in between, because it doesn't matter whether I'm with a group or not. I'm not going to be in the draft. I'm not losing time because I'm not in the draft. And I think that for me, I do think there's going to be temptation thrown in the riders' way. I think they've got to carefully think about their strategy on the rest day, and maybe that will affect the rest day, the amount of thinking they're doing about what do I do. For some, it's going to be easy. It's going to be, we're in the team competition. There's 2 seconds in the lead in GC for individually, plus the team's like 2 seconds apart. Well, you've got to go for the time, but it's not that simple an equation for some.
No, there's a lot of different complicating factors. And actually what's quite funny is, we had a TT last year. There weren't these segments, but we had a TT, which was mass start, no draft. And in the women's category 2 race, we went off the line and I was in 25th or something, which was brilliant. And I was like, why are you all going off at 8 watts per kilo? Like, are you going to do this for 33K? Maybe. So I was in 25th, and I just moved up and up and up and up, and I was still in second for a while, and then and I ended up winning by a minute on that course. But the temptation to go off like a nutter is just, and it's going to be even worse on Monday because you've got the climbing segment. So
can I just say, also, Hayley, for me, when I'm looking at that map, I'm thinking the headwind is in a very interesting place. It's on the downhills. the main blocks of headwind are all on the downhill sections there. And even the sort of slight headwind is on that long downhill run. That's going to take the pace out of the descent and mean you've got to stay on those pedals, isn't it?
Yeah. And from a very selfish perspective, I'm going to be very careful with some of my answers.
No, feel free.
But I think this course demands some contemplation, some careful contemplation, and I think it demands sticking to your own plan and not getting sucked into to reacting to other people, because you don't know when you're in a completely different house, building, country, continent to your competitors. You don't know how they're feeling. You can't get cues from their body language, and so you have to trust your own race. I'm lucky that I've got quite a good internal pacing mechanism, and I tend to know, even in my warm-up, but certainly at the start of a race, I tend to know, okay, is this power that I've set myself as a target, is that realistic for the legs I have today? Or is it not? And maybe this is an insult to junior men, but I always say in a British TT, one of the worst things you can do is go off like a junior boy and go off as though you're Tadej, and then find out maybe after 5 minutes that you are in fact not Tadej.
Hayley, that plays out in junior mountain biking, junior cycling.
Yeah, it's true.
Plays out everywhere.
So
the number of times I've
testosterone.
seen the person who's in the lead at 4 minutes is not in the lead at 40 minutes. In fact, they're in 26th. It plays out everywhere.
Yeah. And I think one of the things we should stress here is that when we talk about the draft stress switched off, we're not talking about the wind has gone. That's still there. It's just the ability to sit behind another rider in shelter that has gone. It is literally that simple. You can't shelter behind anybody else, but the wind will take effect on you if it's a headwind, a crosswind, or a tailwind. And I think, Hayley, your point about pacing, I think this is where those riders, this is the MyWhoosh Championship. There's $1 million prize fund in this. It's the big race. For me, it's bigger than the World Championships in so many ways. If you've been smart and done your homework and you've done your practice, your course practice, you've maybe even set yourself a few practice runs of time trialing. If you're not a time trial rider, you've actually gone and done a time trial of your own creation. Just so you do that, you're doing what is smart. You're getting in. You're getting that practice in. Not everybody has that experience of riding. Like you've ridden national time trials, you've ridden European time trials, you got medals. You know what you're doing. If somebody's brand new, and a lot of countries don't do time trials outdoors or indoors, and you never do one, so you don't know how to pace it. Go get some practice, and I think that's one of the lessons. Maybe we're going to see a few people learning to. I think there's going to be a lot of lessons being learned when we go into that time trial on the next stage, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see who's done the homework first and who learns on the job, as the saying goes, when they're out there. I think that's going to be telling. Have you any thoughts, Emma, about this in terms of pacing? Because I guess your bike time trialing experience is not there, but when you're running an ultra marathon, surely you're not racing with everybody else in the same way. You've got to be able to shut yourself off.
But you see, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I'm always a heart rate versus power kind of debate person. Because historically, as a runner, I trained for 15 years on heart rate. And always knew. I could tell you, I could run a 4-hour, mountain race to the beat. And I think it's really interesting, the whole cycling thing of power and heart rate. What's your effort versus what's your power? It's a really interesting one. Hayley obviously has thoughts on this, but that's my my background coming to cycling from running.
You can see me glancing to the ceiling.
Well, that's it, isn't it? But it's interesting because we've also got we've got riders in this race, quite high level riders who come in from other disciplines and other sports. Francesca Tomasi, who we spoke to yesterday, was a high level elite runner before she came in to the sport. And it's interesting, that dynamic as to what people are used to, versus what people know and what people don't. I mean, you're talking power. I would probably look at heart rate, but it's a different game.
You know what, though? I do think that in a time trial, heart rate is really important, especially with an esports time trial, actually, because you don't have the same you don't have the same kind of, if this was on the road in Montreal, you would probably take there would be corners, you take the descents, your heart rate would maybe have chances to recover naturally, and things like that. It's not so much the case here, I don't think. And actually a well-paced time trial on MyWhoosh, you probably want to see your heart rate gradually increasing through the time trial, peaking at the finish. Nice job. So you probably can use heart rate a little bit more in that respect. The only difficulty is that on day 6 of a championship, are you going to be hitting that same threshold heart rate or maximum heart rate or whatever it is as you would if it was a one-day fresh race? So you need to have that kind of appreciation of where is my heart rate limit today versus where would it be?
Where do I need to start it? I know where I need to get to, but if I'm carrying that amount of fatigue, am I actually having to start it at a lower level or where do you? It's a really interesting one, isn't it?
And that, I think, comes totally circularly round to one of Hayley's original points here, is that having that internal knowledge of how much to put in on the day when you get on the line versus what you theoretically should put in, and knowing I'm on a good day so I can do the numbers, or I'm on a bad day and I can't. And I think, and it comes down to individuals there. We could talk about this.
I was going to say, could I just
another show?
Can I throw in my favorite? It's really quick. Can I throw in my favorite time trial quote, like ever, just to do with time trialing? So Chris Boardman says that in a time trial, what you should be asking yourself, always constantly asking yourself, is, could I sustain this effort to the finish? If your answer is yes, you ain't going hard enough. If your answer is no, it's a bit late and you're already in trouble. So your answer should always be maybe.
What a great quote.
Yeah. So that's, and it rings true. So that's always what I say about time trialing. But as Matt said, I could talk forever about time trialing, and nobody needs that. But that's I've got some great stories that I'll hit you with at another point. But that's
Wait for the time trial special.
That's going to be it from us on day 5 of the MyWhoosh Championships, where the mountains did judge, maybe in some categories, in some classifications they definitely did, but maybe they didn't judge as much as we think, and that actually leaves it wide open. And the time trial, hopefully, maybe my favourite, will actually be pretty decisive.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much to Kate McCarthy and to Jason Osbourne, our 2 world champions at the moment, the 2 riders leading in Category 1 in the MyWhoosh Championships, who have won between them all but one stage of the MyWhoosh Championships. I'll get it right eventually. Do make sure that you follow MyWhoosh, who created this amazing race that we all get to watch and to race on. It's at MyWhoosh on social media and at MyWhoosh Info for all of the information that we use both in commentary and on the show, and to race and get our stats as well when we're out there riding. Download the app on Android, iOS, on Windows, and get racing on MyWhoosh. You can do that at www.mywhoosh.com. Subscribe to this podcast, please. Please, you get to listen to me grovel and another apology at some point to Elise Gallegos. And, of course, follow us on social media. It's at MyWhoosh Racing across all of social media. Thank you, everybody who's supported us by sharing the show and telling your friends. You can tell I'm tired because I'm running out of words. All the links are going to be in the show notes. Thank you so much, everybody. It is really appreciated by me, Emma, and by Hayley.
Yeah, in our next show, stage 6 of the MyWhoosh Championships will be complete, and on what we could tell be a decisive day in the terms of the GC and the team classifications. We will have seen who can time trial and just how far they will move away from the bunch. It's all to play for out there, as every second counts. Goodbye.
Goodbye.